Every 4th of July, just after dusk, you will hear the same chorus wherever you are. Every city, town, hamlet across the United States, you'll hear boom, oh, crack, ooh, boom, 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 ah. Every 4th of July in every city. Fireworks burst across the sky as the rocket's red glare gives me proof that my wife is still there. As we sit on bleachers and huddle on blankets, or as we did a couple of years ago, just sat in the back of a pickup truck as we watched the pyrotechnic display. This has been part of the 4th of July, or Independence Day, the first celebration of America's independence in 1777. That's when it all started, and has been going on ever since. That first commemoration was not, however, the first time fireworks were launched in the American skies. Legend has it that in 1608, Captain John Smith set off a fireworks display in Jamestown. Wouldn't that have been incredible? I guess just to mark the cannibalism that was yet to come in Jamestown. The history of fireworks is crazy. It's crazy ancient. It spans the entire globe. Most historians believe that fireworks were invented in China. However, some contend they originated in the Middle East or India. But either way, we do know that the first firecracker in China was actually created unintentionally when a stick of bamboo was tossed into a fire and it cracked. The hollow air pocket of the bamboo overheated and a loud pop was created. The Chinese believed these natural firecrackers would ward off evil spirits, and so that was the first, at least in China. Around 800 BC, a Chinese alchemist, he mixed sulfur, charcoal, potassium nitrate, mixed it all together, and he was trying to make a recipe for eternal life. Didn't work out quite so well. Some say he was trying to create gold, and that didn't work out either. So whichever, and especially eternal life, because what he made was gunpowder. They began to pack the powder then into the bamboo and then later into paper tubes and toss them into the fire. So if you attended an ancient Chinese display, it wouldn't be like the shows today. I think it sounds a little more dangerous, quite honestly. So then they packed the powder into the paper later, and the bamboo, and the fireworks were thrown into the fire. So they were not launched into the air, and there were no added colors, just noisy explosions like firecrackers. So there was probably not as many oohs and ahs as well. Around 900 AD, the Chinese realized they could make projectiles with the gunpowder. So they fastened the firecrackers to arrows, and they fired them at enemies. And over the next 200 years, the fireworks were made into rockets that could be fired at your enemy without the help of an arrow. So it was pretty, I guess. It was very, very beautiful when we watched them all be set on fire. But it was your enemy, and their uniforms, I suppose, added color because there was no color. Marco Polo brought fireworks to Europe and Arabia from Asia in 1295. Gunpowder recipes came as well. And we used the technology to develop more weapons like cannons and muskets. The Chinese, I don't know, I think their wars had a little bit more flair than just hurling a giant cannonball. Fireworks were not only used as weapons, they were still used to celebrate things. Henry VII, I think, is credited with the first royal fireworks display. He had a wedding in 1486. Then Peter the Great, the Tsar of Russia, put out a 5-hour fireworks show when his son was born. Now, I think that sounds cool, but remember, there were no colors at the time. So at some point, you're like, okay, I mean, I get it. Silver thing goes up in the sky, goes bang, and I see silver lights. I mean, I got it the first hour. And there was no music or anything else. It was just the fire. I think 5 hours might be a little excessive. The 1600s, the science of fireworks didn't change. It was still the same as it was in ancient China, except you didn't throw them into the fireworks. Now, aerial fireworks, and they were not actually silver. They were just plain orange. There was no color, and they were run by fire masters. And the assistants were little green men. Not kidding you. That's what they were called, green men. And they were called that because they had to wear wet leaves to protect themselves from the sparks. And again, I mean, I'm surprised that we ever made it to real civilization. You know, any job that says we're gonna require you to wear wet leaves, I don't think I even apply for. And I recommend to my friends, at least my friends, maybe those I don't like, I'm like, you got to be a green man. I mean, it's going to be great. Early American settlers brought the fireworks with them to the New World. John Adams is credited with inspiring the celebration of independence with fireworks. He wrote to his wife, Abigail, "The day will be most memorable in the history of America. I'm apt to believe that it will be celebrated by succeeding generations as the great anniversary festival. It ought to be solemnized with pomp and parade, bonfires and illuminations, otherwise known as fireworks, from one end of this continent to the other, from this time forward forevermore." And he was right, and we did. America's first 4th of July celebration was in 1777, still with only one color, orange. I think the firework industry could have been run by Henry Ford, and he would have loved it. You get all the fireworks you want in any color as long as it's orange. The elaborate sparkles of red, white, and blue and fancy shapes, not invented for another 60 years. During the Renaissance, pyrotechnic schools had taught eager students how to create elaborate explosions. In Italy, fireworks were particularly popular, and they put specks of metal and other compounds in it to intensify the brightness and to make different shapes. And the fireworks that we watch today may be some of the last fireworks that the world will know. It started before Christ, or BCE, before Common Era, and it may end soon. They've been all over China, India, Arabia, England, Russia, Italy, influences from all over the world. And now they're being replaced by drones because of global warming. But what you see in the sky tomorrow night is really a melting pot. The 4th of July sky is a melting pot of creativity and innovation that came from all over the world. It's a true representation of our noblest ideals that our founding fathers set forth on actually July 2nd, 1776, and finally signed July 4th. E pluribus unum. Out of many, one. Out of so many sources and so many countries, we will all sit on the back of our trucks or in bleachers and watch our one fireworks display and celebrate the one truth. We are free. We are the freest country ever to grace the earth. We've made a lot of mistakes, and that is true. We've been a bad country, and we've been a great country. But we're still a country called the United States of America, and we are free.